And now, you're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
Welcome into RBLR Bucs. It may be the off season, but we never take a week off. Except for last week, we took a week off. It was the Elsa was in town. We couldn't get things going, but here we are. We are back on schedule, and with me, my name is Yurika, and with me is my stalwart. If I'm the wide receiver, he's the quarterback throwing me the ball. Man, this is my guy. Our reigning, defending podcast champion of the world. That is Musaab Yurika. What's up, Mr. Yurika? Musaab, what's up, brother?
What's going on, guys? What's going on, Yurika? I am doing fantastic. I'm feeling really, really happy and really blessed just to be a Tampa Bay sports fan. Just because within a 6 month period, we have two teams in Tampa Bay that are champions. All right, we got the Buccaneers who won in February, and we just got our Tampa Bay Lightning who just won the Stanley Cup. So I'm feeling really, really good right now.
Well, and it was you and I, sir. You and I on day one back in October. Our very first show for RBLR was us talking mostly about the championship, the first Stanley Cup that we had seen in a long time for the Lightning. And it was what a way to kick our podcast off. And here we are 9 months later, and we have two cups and a Super Bowl trophy and some USL hardware for the Rowdies. And the as we were talking way back then on day number one, we were also saying, hey, and the Rays, they got a pretty good shot to go to the World Series. So it has been a phenomenal and unprecedented run of events here for Tampa Bay sports. So this is why I'm so excited, man. I could barely get the introduction out because I'm like, there are just so many exciting things going on, and I'm just happy that we get to talk about it here at RBLR. So, well, Musaab, man, we are a few weeks away from the total team showing up to training camp, but there's still a little bit of news going on. Not any big like signings or anything, but there was a pretty cool little article that came out by CBS Sports, and that's ranking the all-30 and over offensive teams. Did you see this, and what was your initial reaction to this?
Yes, I did, and my initial reaction was absolutely. I find it awesome that, of course, Brady and Gronk are there. Very nice of them to throw Antonio Brown. I think he deserves it after within the 9 games, I guess, that he played with the Bucs. I would say, he's definitely a really good offensive weapon who is over the age of 30. And then, we got Ryan Jensen in the house who's just been doing a phenomenal job overall. Just overall trustworthy guy, gets the job done, has been, one of our top boys of the wall. We got, protecting our boy Brady. So all 4 of those guys definitely all deserve it. And then again, it makes me think like, oh man, these are also some very important positions, especially, Brady and Gronk. Our QB is leaving, so what's going to happen with that? He's getting old. Antonio Brown, a very lethal weapon, when he gets hot. If he starts getting old, what's going to happen? Same thing with Gronk. Same thing with Ryan Jensen, And I think, Ryan Jensen or was it Alex Kappa or Ryan Jensen who was going to be a free agent next year?
I believe it's
Jensen. That's what I was going to say. So Jensen over the age of 30, going to be a free agent next year. So things are a little bit in the air for him next year. Even right now, we'll see what goes on with him this season. So we're in for a treat. But hey, it's really awesome though. You're seeing four Buccaneers on that roster. Out of all those teams in the league, we got four guys up there. So that's impressive. It really is, and they all deserve it. Absolutely.
Now, what I was going to ask you about is that all of the Buccaneers that were named there, Tom Brady, Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski, and Ryan Jensen, they were actually the second team, so they weren't the first teamers. So I wanted to run this down. First and foremost, quarterback Tom Brady was second team to Aaron Rodgers of the Packers. He's going through a little bit of turmoil, right? He wants out of Green Bay. We don't know if he's going to stay in Green Bay or if he's going to be moved on to another team. I think it's something to watch. But do you agree that Tom Brady should be sitting backup to Aaron Rodgers?
Absolutely not. I just think CBS Sports is not a fan of the Buccaneers. I don't think anyone really wants to be praising us right now because it's like, it's the off season, new season's almost starting. I think they're just sick of our excited attitude that we, still have as Bucs fans. So for that reason, absolutely not. I guess, hey, look, you want to put Ryan Jensen on the second team? Sure. Gronkowski, and
Well, I was going to get into that because the next one is Antonio Brown. Okay, Antonio Brown. I guess he's sitting bench to Marvin Jones, which Marvin Jones, who's playing for the Jaguars this year. He was with the Lions last year, and he started all the games last year for him, so he's pretty reliable. But I think you're looking at two guys. I believe that Jones is one of the number one or number two wide receivers for them, where Antonio Brown's kind of a third receiver, kind of throw him around in different situations, but he's not an every down wide receiver. So are you okay with Marvin Jones getting the start over Antonio Brown?
I'm fine with it. I mean, I think Antonio Brown still has to prove himself to be, the number one guy on that little over 30 or 30 team roster. So I'm fine with it right now. I'm fine with all those guys. I was just gonna say that Brown, Gronkowski, Jensen. Yeah, sure, go ahead. Put them on second team, but Brady for sure definitely gets that first team spot. I mean, how do you not give it to him? Comes down to a city like Tampa Bay and just changes the whole atmosphere. I mean, I'm honestly convinced, Eureka, there is a Tom Brady effect going on in Tampa Bay. As soon as this man comes down to the Sunshine State of Florida, what happens? The Lightning win twice. We win a Super Bowl. Rays go to the AL. They win the AL championship and go to the World Series. Rowdies, basically won the championship as well. We are a winning city, and it is all thanks to our mayor, Tom Brady.
Well, what's funny is Tom actually has there was another interesting article because Tom Brady kind of has this effect everywhere he's ever been since they were dating back to 1980. Okay, so if you look at when he's in Northern California, the Raiders and Niners win the Super Bowl. The Athletics win the World Series. Then they move to Detroit when he goes to Michigan for college. Well, the Red Wings then win two straight Stanley Cups. Of course, Michigan wins the national championship. I mean, he wasn't the starting quarterback for him or nothing, but they won the national championship. Then when he goes to New England, obviously we know the reign of success of the Red Sox, the Celtics, the Bruins, and the Patriots won a couple championships. And then he moves to Tampa, and all this starts up, man. I mean, it's it's kind of eerie when I look at all this.
You can call it eerie. You can call it eerie, but I'll say this. I'll say if we win another Super Bowl, I will be convinced that Tom Brady is the Jesus of American sports.
Oh man. Oh man. Well, I guess the only things if I'm putting Brady versus Rodgers, it's Rodgers was the most valuable player statistically, but I think you're making a really good point that there is no more valuable person at all to to a team than Tom Brady. I mean, we had kind of talked about it off air about the Buccaneers, the it's a Bucs life, just Buccaneers kind of stench that has surrounded this team since its inception, outside of the run in the late 90s and early 2000s. But all of that has kind of been washed away as soon as Tom Brady walked in the door, and it's only kind of continued. And one of the reasons that it continues is because the entire team is coming back. Tom Brady is still the quarterback of this team, and we're returning every one of our starters. It's very similar to my next topic here, which is the people we beat in the Super Bowl here in Tampa at our own stadium. We beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and they had a very similar campaign last year with the hashtag Run It Back. So I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on kind of what that whole story is.
Absolutely. So this past season, there was, obviously it wasn't something super, worldwide or popular or something like that, but, the Chiefs were running around with that little run it back campaign because, they basically had the same kind of team as their championship team. Maybe they lost a guy or two. Maybe they got a guy or two. Yeah, same thing like us, but anyways, long story short, there is talk that it's just gonna pass on to us. It honestly seems like it passes on to like every single team. Obviously not. I don't know if every single one of these championship teams every single year wants to just run it back specifically with the exact same squad.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you can't compare the Chiefs organization to the Buccaneers organization at all. And we were just talking about it right now, Eureka. Sure, Kansas City can run it back all they want, but I'll tell you this: when Tampa Bay runs it back, we're gonna make sure we actually finish the job.
Yeah.
And the reason why we are gonna do that is because we have the one and only, our Lord and Savior, Tom Brady, and Kyle Trask.
My man, dude. Well, last year the Chiefs brought back, I believe there was like 20 or 21 of their starters. There was a couple guys that left, but. I mean, they had a couple guys that opted out for the COVID year, but really, that was almost unprecedented even at that point. Now we can look at the Bucs and just say, well, they brought back everybody, like they brought back everyone. So, but the man, I mean, they had it going in the regular season, and they were really a dominant force, and let's not forget, they were the favorites in the Super Bowl by a margin, and they looked poised to do it, and then it was just unexpectedly the Buccaneers. To be fair, I mean, we all thought that they were going to win, but I don't know if we thought they were going to like drop the hammer in the Super Bowl. And that's part of why we loved it so much. That's part of why it was so exhilarating, is that like we fought our toughest challenge and we just knocked it out of the park, man. I mean, their offense really couldn't do much against us, and the play calling was a little weird, and it was just like we were in their heads, we were in their helmets, and we were in between their jerseys, man. It was an awesome sight to see. So I would say or I'll ask you this, Musaab, how do you said Tom Brady, right? You said Tom Brady's going to be the difference on why they're going to get the job done. Other than Tom Brady, I mean, he doesn't play defense for this team. How does the defense stick around, stay on target, and run through another grueling and even longer regular season that they're going to have to go through?
Veteran leadership / Devin White, who is going to be the defensive player of the year this season. I mean, you look at our linebackers. We got Levante David leading the boys, and then right behind him is Devin White, who is basically our main weapon. And then, I mean, you look at the rest of the guys, and we have a young DB unit, but I mean, we have some people who've put in their time in the league, who are still guiding these guys. So defense-wise, I mean, I don't think I have any worry, because I just think there's all kinds of leadership everywhere. There's going to be all kinds of good communication. The young guys are going to be watching this, especially the ones who get drafted and all that. And hopefully they pick up on it, because we're going to need it. We're going to need them. We really are. The reason why we won is because our backup stepped up when we needed them. One example from the top of my head, Mr. Tyler Johnson. He came through for some very kind of clutch, valuable catches on the third down. So that's my hot take. Mm-hmm. Is I think that the veteran leadership hopefully is just going to be teaching these young guys how to do it. I don't have any big worries. I think we're going to do a great job. I just think that, if the time comes that, these veterans are getting a little bit old, one of them is getting a little bit old, or a few of them are, then that's when their leadership comes in. And that's when the young backup steps up to the plate and takes the job, and we'll see from there what happens.
Yeah, well, that brings me into my next question that I wanted to say, and that's, you talked about some veterans that they could fall off, but you're looking for their leadership. Maybe we can get into a topic you had written down here in the notes, and that is your players you think are going to rise and shine, or some that may fall off the radar. Is there one or two guys that you have in mind when you thought of this idea?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I mean, I'll just keep it nice, short and sweet. Which is my first candidate is Mr. Devin White, of course, okay. Mr. Future Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, what do I have to say? I mean, I think he's just gonna ball out more than ever. First season he did a solid job. Second season, great job. I just think that. It's just hard for him to kind of shine, I guess, unfortunately, because we just got so many stars and we're such a good team. He's just kind of the young buck, but I think he's going to do some really heavy damage this upcoming season. He's going to really make his name stand out. So that's my first candidate. Second candidate, I am going to go with Mr. Scotty Miller.
Okay.
I think Scotty Miller is going to step up to the plate. I don't know. For some reason, I just have this weird feeling that him and Brady just have this really good connection. I know, obviously, they're not like the main go-to Mike Evans, Brady kind of, relationship, but perhaps I feel like it's very good off the field and, even on the field. When Scotty's on the field, it's time for him to, do something. I think there's always some good chemistry. I think that's why that play against the Packers really worked out. I don't know. I really think he's going to be some really kind of sneaky weapon as he was this past season. But I think he's going to be getting a lot more touches.
Yeah, so for risers, you had of course Devin White and Scotty Miller on the other side of the ball. For me, I'm really thinking that Chris Godwin's going to have a crazy year this year. I think they franchise tagged him. He's a clear 1A 1B with Mike Evans, and I believe that. They're gonna lock him up for a long-term deal. I think they're just franchise tagging him because they can, and to be fair, they're probably saving money because he's probably worth at least $17 million a year, and they're bringing him in for about $16 million with the salary with the way that the franchise tag works. So they're actually saving money by doing this, in my opinion, and I think he's going to be going crazy, and there will be no choice but for Tampa Bay to give him a long-term deal and make him a very, very, very rich man. My other guy, I guess, on defense for risers, I really hope that this is a rising and consistent year for a guy like Jordan Whitehead, or I mean, I guess if I want to be a little spicier, I mean, Carlton Davis is kind of who I'm looking for. Is like, all right, dude, like we need someone who's gonna show up every week and not be up and down like we saw from a few of the young guys in the secondary. So I think that's who I'm hoping is a riser on the defense is Carlton Davis to be number one, and then but we have some rookies that I hope don't turn into the falling off. They had good rookie years, but I guess before I get into that, I'll ask you: is there a guy or two that you're looking at and saying he's a candidate? Not saying he will, but maybe a candidate for kind of falling off the radar.
I am unfortunately gonna have to go with Mr. Tyler Johnson.
Okay.
I just think that if things are working out a lot better for everyone else out on the field, meaning, our starters, even, some of our backups. And the thing is, we also have someone like Giovanni Bernard, who is kind of going to be a really nice little weapon on third downs.
Yeah.
So as of right now, I'm someone like who's gonna be like, I don't know. I feel like he may fall off the radar. I feel like he may just he could just end up maybe having a season similar to this past one. I guess he might end up being clutch, but I don't know. I have the best wishes for him, and I really do hope that he shines. But I would not be surprised if he falls off the radar.
Yeah, I think I could see that, only because if everyone else is clicking, like you said, if Evans and Godwin and Antonio Brown and Scotty Miller and Giovanni Bernard and Ronald Jones are all like just firing, Tyler Johnson can turn in a year that's solid, but just not remarkable, and still be like a contributing member to the team. I can definitely see that, only because of everyone else being really, really, really good. But Tom Brady's gonna throw him the ball. I mean, if he gets on the field, if something unfortunately happens and he has to move up the chart, or if he just fights and maybe takes over Scotty Miller's position, for that's a possibility too. He's gonna get chances. I think some people that are also going to get chances that I think are candidates. I don't think I hope they don't, but the candidates for kind of falling off the radar are guys like the backups, Nacho. I mean, I love Nacho, man, but there was a noticeable drop off. I mean, from Vita Vea when he left, and if something like that happens again, I'm hoping that Nacho can do what he did, or even better than what he did last year up front, because we cannot have a situation where they can run up the middle. And I've said this before about some of the worries that I have when we had a guest on a couple weeks ago, just talking about there's a weakness up the middle, or at least there's a potential for a little bit of age to catch up. And that's my second guy is a guy like JPP. As much as I love JPP, man, I mean he's a bull like both of us, and we love him to death. But he's on the other side of 30, and how much gas is left in that tank to be a very high performing member, and you got a young guy right behind him that's might be pushing his motor. You got the number 1 draft pick sitting behind him, and so. Not saying that JPP's going to fall off the radar, but there's between age, a young gun right behind him, and a little bit of injury history that he's had. Those are kind of where I'm at with saying like, it could possibly happen without being too crazy or too spicy of a take. So, do you agree or disagree on those?
I agree with you 100%.
Okay.
Those are the exact kind of candidates I had in mind as well, if not Tyler Johnson. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, this is kind of going to be a little test to see, maybe perhaps some of these rookies might step up to the plate. I'm honestly, kind of hoping at least one or two of these rookies really kind of have a nice place on the roster, meaning at least they're a trustworthy second string.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, very, very optimistic.
All right. What else did you want to talk about, Big Doc?
Well, yeah, just a few other things is, one thing is, for all my Buck fans out there, just a small thing to flex if you want to, which is the Buccaneers were the team of the year at the ESPYs,
Hey.
And Tom Brady was the male athlete of the year. So yeah, those are two things you can be flexing, Tampa Bay Buck fans. But also, just a little update for all of our listeners, just because I just think that it's something that I just found very interesting, because in the past a lot of people, and even in this year, people have kind of been able to opt out of it, which is the Cameron Kinley case, which was that right before kind of training camp's going to start, they're like, oh, well, you actually have to serve in the Navy. I guess because of his kind of status at the Naval Academy, which was, he was a captain at the team, class president. He was kind of a big shot there, and I'm pretty sure they wanted his leadership in the United States Navy. Anyways, well, the Secretary of the Navy has granted him, time to play at least in training camp. So at least for now, what we know is that he's able to participate in all of training camp. Not sure about the preseason and all that, but this is a really awesome opportunity. He himself says that he has a chip on his shoulder. I'm sure everyone else can agree with that. So we'll see what goes on with that. Very honestly, I'm rooting for him. I really am. Those kind of guys who are drafted later, undrafted free agents. I really want to see those kind of people shine. But I guess maybe the next thing I wanted to go over was probably just that, hey, look, training camp is coming. It's coming up soon. What are we, or, I want to know, Yurika, first from you,
Yeah.
/ what do you think that, the rest of our listeners are thinking is, what are we kind of expecting to hear about it afterwards? After this whole kind of training camp and throughout training camp, what are the kind of things you have in mind that we're going to be kind of hearing about?
Yeah, first and foremost, I think that there is an effort from the coaching staff to have this mentality and have the players think that hey, isn't it great that we won the Super Bowl? Well, that was last year. This is this year, and we are a brand new team with a brand new outlook, and we haven't done anything. That really, I think that's what he's trying to beat into their heads, because he said as much. I do believe that this is when the coaches got together and came up with the game plan for how they're going to run camp and run everything and get the mentality of this team going. It's that they can't rest. They can't sit back and count their money, and they can't count their diamonds on their championship ring. They have to actually show up to work for 2021. Otherwise, it's going to be a fiasco and a disaster. So that's what I expect to hear. I expect to hear, oh man, Brady's right back in this thick of things, and oh my God, Giovanni Bernard adds so much of a dimension to our offense that we hadn't seen before, and man, Joe Tryon is just a beast from day one, and oh my God, the special teams unit's going to be way better. I think that's what you're going to hear from the team and from maybe some of the media covering it. But really, it's the successful portion, if and when that I can call the camp a success, is that we hit the ground running. We don't look like a team that's been away from the field. We look like a team that's locked in and ready to beat Dallas week 1. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to expect from training camp.
I like that a lot. I really do. And I guess maybe the thing I kind of had in mind was, I guess my expectation is what I'm hoping to hear is more, I guess, about the players that, well, first, more about the players who we drafted, the undrafted free agents.
Yeah.
And then also the backups. I want to hear about all those three kind of people, more about our starters.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, anything super big, obviously, I really want to know about the starters. But I want to see what's going on with our backups. This year, I'm really interested in, obviously, a few things. If you've been listening, I think then from the top of my head, you can name a few things that I value in the Buccaneers organization. The first being Devin White being Defensive Player of the Year, the Kyle Trask train, and I guess my third thing is, actually, the other thing is probably the Brady effect, and then the fourth thing I would probably say is this is me and my love for just investing in the future of the organization and making sure we get the right backup. So.
Yeah.
I want to see what goes on with our backups. Really expecting to hear more about that. But also expecting to hear about, what's going on with someone like Antonio Brown, who didn't get that many reps in last year, only, kind of joined us in late season. How's Giovanni Bernard doing? What's going on with, like someone like our first pick draft, Joe Tryon? What's the defense looking like? The big thing for sure I want to hear about is what's going on with our DBs. That's it. Look, if I don't get any news other than one thing from the Bucs during this training camp is the DB situation. What's going on with them? Who's looking real good? Any rookies? Any young guys? Who are the backups? Et cetera, et cetera.
Well, we will be getting into all that because over the next couple weeks, rookies and quarterbacks report to camp in 7 days from when we are recording this on Wednesday night. And then a week later, the veterans will have all reported on the 28th. And so over these next couple weeks, I think it'll be important as we go and take a look and get kind of seeing what the news is coming out of camp and what the expectations are and what coaches are saying, but also kind of reading between the lines and seeing what we think is really going on as we get ready for the preseason. And before you know it, man, I mean, dude, people are reporting to camp next week. Before you know it, we will be talking about week 1 against the Dallas Cowboys. So, Musaab, man, final thoughts for us before we get out of here, big guy.
As always, to our listeners, thank you for giving us a chance. Thank you for listening to RBLR Sports. We really do appreciate it. Make sure to, follow us on our social media accounts. Stay posted with us. Stay updated. And that's really about it. I hope you are as excited as I am for this upcoming season. We are getting closer and closer day by day, week by week, month by month. Thank you very much again.
We were kind of doing our victory lap on the Lightning podcast a couple days ago. If you get a chance, it's on the same feed that you see this. So wherever you're listening to us on Apple Pod, Google Pod, Spotify, YouTube, just go ahead and click over to the Lightning. But that whole crazy boat parade and shenanigans just got me excited to say, well, it's Buccaneers up next. We have put our stamp as a city on the boat parade and the craziness, and I cannot wait to do that all over again after we saw our boys in blue take it to the Montreal Canadiens and hoisting a second straight Stanley Cup. So for all of us, we say thank you to the listener, man. If there's one more thing that we ask you to do, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button on wherever you're listening to us right now, but also give us a shout out on social media. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. We are at RBLR Sports on all forms of social media. So go ahead and join the hundreds and hundreds of people that are following us and getting their score updates, and we talk a lot of cool stuff in between all the games, and we're just getting started here, and we can't wait to give you even more and more coverage. So for Mr. Musaab Yurika, my name is Yurika. We're happy and very, 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 very appreciative that you took your time out of your day. And so the only thing to say is thank you and go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.